What if dying was just the beginning of your biggest relationship problem? Look, most movies about the afterlife show you pearly gates or fire pits. This one, it literally drops you at a cosmic train station where you got to pick your forever vacation spot and deal with all your baggage. I'm talking about A24's Eternity. And trust me, this film is about to mess with your head in the best way possible. So we meet Larry and Joan Cutler, this old married couple who've been together for like 65 years. They're heading to their kids' place for a gender reveal party, bickering in the car about vacation plans like every long-term couple does. Here's the thing though, Joan's got terminal cancer and they're keeping it hush-hush from the family. At the party, someone pulls out this old photo of Joan with her husband. Jude died in the Korean War way back when. Larry's checking out the picture when he grabs a pretzel. And this is where things go sideways in the most A24 way possible. He starts choking. A few coughs, a stumble, and boom, Larry's dead. Just like that. No dramatic music, no slow-mo, just gone. But hold up, death is not the end here. Larry wakes up gasping, but something's different. He looks down and he's young again. We're talking Miles Teller young. He's on a train with some kid in grown-up clothes, and when the doors open, he steps into what looks like Grand Central Terminal had a baby with Disneyland's Tomorrowland. There's this massive glowing sign, "Welcome to the station, your eternity awaits." People are everywhere, hundreds of them, and they're all pushing brochures at him like those annoying mall kiosk workers. Larry's completely lost until this woman named Anna shows up. She's his afterlife coordinator, basically a cosmic travel agent played by Divine Joy Randolph, and she's got this hilarious mix of helpful and done with your confusion energy. She shows Larry a mirror and Jude nearly loses it. He's young, like legitimately his younger self. Anna drops the knowledge bomb. Everyone shows up at their happiest age. That's why you see some 10-year-olds running around. When Larry asks about God, Anna literally says there's no God here, just some guy named Frank who works for someone else, who works for someone else. It's bureaucracy all the way up, no cap. Here's how it works. You get 1 week to choose your eternity. Beach paradise? Done. Studio 54 forever? Wild but sure. A world with no men? Apparently super popular. Cigarette eternity where smoking can't kill you twice? Yeah, that exists. Once you board your train to whatever eternity you pick, that's it. Forever. No takebacks. The bartender who waited 67 years. Larry's head is spinning. He can't think about eternities right now because Joan's dying from cancer. She'll be here soon. So he decides to wait at the station for her. The station's got this bar, and behind it is this handsome, old-fashioned looking dude named Luke, played by Callum Turner. Larry mentions he's waiting for his wife Joan, and Luke straight up freezes. Here's the crazy part. Luke is Joan's first husband, the guy from that photo at the party. He died young in the Korean War, like right after they got married. And he's been waiting at this bar for 67 years, nearly 7 decades, hoping Joan would walk through those doors. 2 men, 1 woman, 1 lifetime shared, 1 lifetime stolen. This is about to get messy. Joan arrives. The ultimate love triangle. After some time, the doors open, and there she is, Joan, now young again, Elizabeth Olsen. She sees Larry first, runs to him, crying and laughing. They embrace, and it's beautiful. Then she turns around and sees Luke. Her face goes blank. Her whole soul fractures right there. The man she married first. The man she lost before they could even start their life together. The man she thought she'd never see again. He's been waiting for her this entire time. Joan's afterlife coordinator, Ryan, John Early, absolutely hilarious, is like, surprise! Here's your first husband who shaved his mustache 67 years ago because you didn't like it and has been waiting for you ever since. Larry's standing there like, what the actual? And suddenly Joan realises she's got the most impossible decision of her afterlife. Choose between the 2 men she loved most. Larry, the man she built a real life with. Kids, grandkids, 65 years of messy, beautiful reality. Luke, the dream that got cut short, the what if, the life she never got to live. Both choices are beautiful, both are devastating, and both are forever. The pressure cooker. 1 week to decide forever. While Joan's having a complete existential breakdown, we get to see more of this wild afterlife system. Anna and Ryan become her guides through this chaos, and honestly, they're like cruise directors mixed with therapists, mixed with salespeople. They're constantly reminding her, you have 1 week. Choose or get assigned. The station is packed with different eternities being advertised. Disco to Eternity, Studio 54 vibes forever. Quiet Eternity, just peace, no stress. No Men Eternity, self-explanatory and apparently very popular. Chaotic Eternity, for people who apparently loved stress. But Joan can't even process the brochures. She's too busy dealing with two men who both have legitimate claims to her heart. Luke takes her on a date, and it's sweet but intense. He tells her he's thought about her every single day for 67 years. He leans in for a kiss, but Joan gets overwhelmed and bails. This is too much pressure. Larry, meanwhile, is trying to play it cool. He's thinking, we had 65 years together. We raised kids. We built a life. She'll obviously choose me. But it's not that simple, and Larry knows it deep down. Special permission. Test driving forever. Joan's losing her mind trying to decide, so Anna and Ryan call their boss and get special permission for something wild. Joan can visit both eternities, 1 week with each husband, before making her final choice. Neither Larry nor Luke is happy about this. They start arguing, and Larry even throws shade like, you didn't die in a real war. It was just Korea. Low-key savage, Larry. They almost throw hands before Anna and Ryan break it up. They flip a coin. Luke wins.
Eternity number 1.
Mountains with Luke. Luke and Joan take a train to this beautiful mountain world. It's gorgeous, adventurous, everything young love should be. But there's tension. Joan keeps bringing up her kids and grandkids, and Luke shuts her down every time. He doesn't want to hear about the life she had without him. It hurts too much. Then Luke takes her somewhere incredible, the Archive Centre, a place where you can literally relive your memories. They watch their first meeting, their first date, their first intimate moment, and then the memory of Luke leaving for war. Joan calls it the worst day of her life, and you can see Luke breaking apart watching it. But then they see something else. They see Larry proposing to Joan at that same dock where she waited for Luke to come home. Luke's face goes dark. He accuses Larry of being a leech, using her grief to swoop in and marry her. Beach life with Larry. When it's Larry's turn, they go to this super popular beach eternity. It's packed with people, and they end up on a boat just to get some privacy. Larry apologises for not being there when she died. Joan tells him she's glad he waited for her at the station, but when he starts talking about how their kids will be happy they're together, she gets overwhelmed. She tries to explain that this decision is impossible, but Larry's like, Luke is the past. We spent our lives together. They visit the Archive Centre too, and Joan shows him the memory of their first date. She tells him he never let her feel sad. Larry admits that back then she was broken, so he became strong for her. They were what each other needed. At the station, things explode. Luke finds a letter Larry wrote before Joan arrived. A letter revealing that Larry was originally planning to leave the station without her. He wanted to go set up their eternity and have her meet him there after she died. When Joan finds out, she feels betrayed. Larry tries to explain he thought it was best, but he snaps and calls her selfish for breaking their 65-year marriage over this. Then Larry throws dirt on Luke, tells Joan about photos he found in Luke's room, numbers of women he hooked up with while waiting. Joan's like, he waited 67 years. You think he was supposed to be celibate? And Luke breaks down. He admits he's not perfect, he made mistakes, he got lonely, but he waited. That's what mattered. Both men are demanding she choose. Joan's had enough. She kicks everyone out. The final decision. Nobody wins. Joan gets drunk with her friend Karen, who also died and is now living her best lesbian life in the afterlife. Honestly, good for her. The next morning, hungover and exhausted, Joan makes her choice. She calls both Larry and Luke to her room. And here's what happens next. It hits different than you'd expect. Joan tells Larry that when he died, it felt like a nightmare. She didn't know how to exist without him. She tells Luke that he was her first love, and if he hadn't gone to war, they might have had a beautiful life. Then she says, I'm glad you were both in my life, but all things must end. I choose myself. Joan's going to spend eternity with Karen, without either of them. Mic drop. But wait, Larry's realisation, Joan and Karen board their train. Larry and Luke are left at the station, bonding over their shared loss, when Larry remembers something. He runs to the train and knocks on the window. Joan comes out. Larry tells her, your hair is different. See, Joan always had long hair when she was with Larry. She only cut it short after Luke died. That means when she arrived at the station, she showed up with the hairstyle she had with Luke, because that was when she was happiest. Larry, with tears in his eyes, tells her she should be with Luke. He deserves the happiness he was robbed of. It breaks Larry's heart, but knowing she'll be happy makes it okay. Joan thanks him, and she leaves with Luke for the mountain eternity. But wait again, the real ending cut to Joan and Luke in their mountain paradise. They're hiking, meeting people, getting intimate, living the dream life they never got to have. but Joan feels empty. Something's missing. At night, she sneaks off to the archive centre and relives memories with Larry, over and over. The attendant warns her this isn't healthy. She's getting stuck in the past. Luke notices but doesn't say anything because he wants her to be happy. But Joan realises the truth. Luke is perfect. But Larry was always there, making sure she was happy through everything. She tells Luke she made a mistake. She can't stay. Luke's devastated. He reminds her that if she leaves, they'll catch her and throw her into the void, a place of nothing but darkness. But Joan's determined. She's going back to find Larry. The escape running through memories. Luke, broken but still loving her, helps Joan escape. He creates a distraction so she can sneak into the archive centre and find the red door, the portal back to the station. Joan runs through the red door and suddenly she's racing through a tunnel of memories, seeing flashes of her life, including the moment she learned Luke had died in the war. Guards are chasing her. She navigates through her old house, grabs her past self's hand, and escapes through a hole in the wall. She makes it back to the station. Her face is now on wanted posters. She's a fugitive. Ryan and Anna find her and hide her from the guards. They tell her Larry's still there. He never left. He's been waiting, working as a bartender in the same spot Luke used to stand. Forever. Finally, the real choice. Joan finds Larry behind the bar. He sees her and stops mid-sentence. After the woman he was serving leaves, he asks where they're going. Joan says she knows a place, but it's dangerous. Larry doesn't hesitate. He's ready. They sneak into a closed eternity, one of those outdated, abandoned worlds nobody goes to anymore. It's risky, but it's theirs. And there, in a forgotten corner of the afterlife, Larry and Joan finally get there forever, together. The verdict. Does this movie actually work? Alright, let's be real for a second. What works? Eternity is low-key brilliant in how it uses the afterlife as a metaphor for relationship choices. It's not about heaven or hell, it's about figuring out who you really are when you strip away time, age, and societal expectations. The performances are fantastic, especially Elizabeth Olsen, who carries the emotional weight of this impossible choice. And the humour? Divine Joy Randolph and John Early are comedic gold, keeping this from getting too heavy. The concept is wild and fresh, a retro-futuristic train station afterlife with bureaucracy and sales pitches. That's some creative stuff right there. It makes death feel less scary and more like an airport layover you can't escape. What's shaky? The movie doesn't dig as deep into its world building as it could. We get glimpses of all these different eternities, but we never really explore them. Some of the middle section drags when Joan's going back and forth. It starts feeling repetitive, and honestly, the escape sequence at the end, while exciting, feels a bit rushed compared to the slow burn emotional setup. The big question the movie asks is actually profound though. If you could choose forever, would you choose the person you became with, or the person you dreamed about being with? Joan chooses growth over fantasy. She chooses the messy, complicated, real love that challenged her and changed her, not the idealised what if that never got tested by time. That's surprisingly mature for a rom-com. Who should watch this? This movie is for you if you're into A24's weird, emotional, genre-bending stuff. You want a romance that actually makes you think. You like afterlife concepts that aren't religious or preachy. You're down for something bittersweet that'll stick with you. Skip it if you want a straightforward rom-com with a clean, happy ending. You're looking for action or fast pacing. You hate movies that make you question your life choices. You need everything explained and wrapped up neatly. Final thoughts. Eternity isn't perfect. It's got pacing issues and doesn't fully explore its coolest ideas. But you know what? It stays in your head. Days after watching, you'll be thinking about Larry's sacrifice, Joan's impossible choice, and Luke's 67 years of waiting. It asks a question most rom-coms are too scared to touch. What if the love of your life isn't the person you loved most, but the person who loved you through everything? The ending is beautiful, heartbreaking, and earned. Joan doesn't get the fantasy. She gets the person who saw her at her worst and chose to stay anyway. And honestly, that's more romantic than any perfect love story could ever be. If you're into movies that hurt in the best way possible, that make you laugh and cry sometimes in the same scene, and that treat love like the complicated, messy, beautiful thing it actually is, this one's for you. Eternity proves that forever isn't about excitement or perfection. It's about finding the person who walks beside you through every season of your life, even after it's over. That hits different. rating a beautifully weird, emotionally grounded afterlife romance that's sweeter and smarter than it has any right to be. Not perfect, but it'll mess you up in all the right ways.